Hey everybody, we are live. I am Adam. This is Highly Articulated, and I am trying to get back into the swing of things, but I'll tell you what, not doing this for a few months, there's so many little things timing wise that I've completely blanked on. So I had my thumbnail ready a few days ago, got everything set up, got everything ready. and forgot to schedule the video. So there was no notification to anybody about the video when I sat down 5 minutes ago to jump into the studio. And by studio, I mean like the virtual studio where I sort of hit go live and all that kind of stuff. There was nothing scheduled. So in a panic, I had to like set up the thing and put the thumbnail in and do the thing. And like normally you do that, ahead of time. And I'm bad about it, but normally I do it, the morning of or the night before. I thought I was being proactive. I had my thumbnail ready. And like I said, I had sort of like thought through all this stuff and kind of, I just missed it. I just completely missed it. I completely forgot to schedule the video. So, you know, well, there's not going to be anybody that's going to show up probably for a while just because they don't know to show up. It's like throwing a party but not inviting anybody. So that's the situation that we're in. Durant, hello, good to have you. Happy that you stumbled across this right as it was posted and scheduled, and now here we are live. It's a very intimate video today, I think, with sort of potentially very few viewers, but hey, we're gonna do it anyway because really the whole point is me getting to talk about toys and talking about the toys that I love, and kind of only talking about the toys that I love. So, this is a one-way conversation anyway, apart from the chat. I do appreciate the chat very, very much because it does sort of help me sort of keep going and sort of not ramble and rant for too long, which I'm doing right now. So it is, of course, October. You know that. I know that. And so, the spooky season is upon us. We've got Halloween coming up. I was with my kids at Spirit Halloween, and ironically, it was bittersweet going to Spirit Halloween this year because I've mentioned this before, but the Toys R Us in my city closed about a month ago, and in its place, true to form, Spirit Halloween. So, Toy Farce couldn't have done a meme, any better than sort of what happened in my real life. Toys R Us closed, and within a couple days, the Spirit Halloween sign went up. There's still, the Toys R Us sign has come down, but you can still see the outline of it. It was there. Oh man, I don't know how long it was there, but if I had to guess, I'd say it was probably there close to 30 years. And so, that sign is obviously going to leave sort of an indelible mark on that building facade until they repaint it or something like that. The truth is, though, that Toys R Us, I hadn't been going to Toys R Us much. The way that we as toy collectors perceive Toys R Us through sort of that nostalgic lens of, it's the greatest toy store there is. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up. All that kind of stuff. Toys R Us was not doing so well at the end. I can't remember the last thing that I was excited to sort of go to Toys R Us and buy. I love buying toys in person. I am sort of maybe among the minority that now still enjoys shopping for toys and hunting for toys, and it seems like little by little the ability for me to go out and hunt is sort of dying. Toys R Us is gone. Some of the major department stores are gone. Walmart's toy section is dramatically changing. If you want Roblox and Minecraft, you've got tons of options. If you want Star Wars and Marvel and G.I. Joe, not so much. The Marvel selection at the Walmart here is now, the figures for, $10-12 kind of thing. Same with Star Wars. G.I. Joe's non-existent. Still lots of wrestling figures. If you're into wrestling, Walmart's still a good spot for you, but there's just not that much available in person, which is kind of crazy, but I guess it's probably in line with shopping patterns. I think the average middle-aged toy collector is probably buying most of their stuff online. And as much as I would rather not, that's just the way it is. Durant, was it too expensive? It got that way. So Toys R Us for a long, long time for us wasn't the same here in Canada. I don't know where you are, Durant, but I'm in Canada, and the Canadian Toys R Us, which is a separate sort of business entity to the American one, still had really good pricing up until about 2020, I think, give or take. And then during the pandemic, I think it just started going crazy. They changed their pricing. It was sold to another company that then sort of really jacked up the prices and put way more STEM toys in. And I got nothing against STEM toys, but Toys R Us isn't necessarily where people are going for that kind of thing, I don't think. Way more books. And then towards the end, the company that bought them it also owns like a bunch of record stores that but even those record stores, sell like t-shirts and plushies and odds and ends and collectibles and stuff like that. There's way less music than there should be in a record store that these people run, but they put records into Toys R Us, which took up effectively what for years was 2 full boys toys aisles. So it was just on its way out. I mean, Toys R Us, like, honestly, as soon as they put records in, I was like, this is the end. This is the beginning of the end. Brick says, I love the modern era of ordering online and then going to specialty shops or cons to buy in person, where I'm usually guaranteed to be around others who love toys as much as I do. Yeah, and I mean that's I am lucky enough that I get to go to a few cons every year, big ones, like big legitimate toy conventions, and there's so much cool stuff there. So I'm not, ordering online is super convenient, but it doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't, you're not. But I think we live in a different era as well, where we used to go to the store to find out what was available. Now, by the time we go to the store, we know exactly what we're looking for, and we're at Walmart for a Walmart exclusive. We go to Target for a Target exclusive, so on and so forth. Like, I think we're only in certain locations looking for certain things. It's not as, it doesn't have the same feel as it used to, and I know that I'm sort of seeing that through a nostalgic lens, and I know that I'm sort of probably romanticizing it a lot more than I should, because at the end of the day, if you get your toys, you get your toys, right? Whether that's online or in person or whatever. But I'll still lament the day that we would just walk into stores and shop, and those stores also weren't being bought out by people who are going to turn around and flip everything. But anyway, I digress. People are starting to tune in. If you're just tuning in now, I apologize. I thought I posted the notification on Saturday morning that I was doing the video today, but I didn't post any notification. There was no notification. I posted the video that I was going live, and then a minute later I went live. So anyways, I've been kind of trying to kill some time waiting for a few more people to tune in, which it seems like a couple people have. So good to have you guys. Saf is here as well. Gabriel is here, or Gabriel. I think we've gone over that, but I forget now. And Christopher Bouchard is here as well. Yeah, and this is it. So my Toys R Us is now a Spirit Halloween. So the like the corpse of Toys R Us has now been reanimated by way of Spirit Halloween. So, like, how appropriate is it that that I was back in Toys R Us today buying Halloween costumes? Anyway, and Brick says, yeah, those times were fun. Parents hated it. As I've talked to them about it, they weren't nearly as positive about those days. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, I'm also imagining times where I wasn't buying any of it. My parents were buying it. And I think, anybody that has kids has been in a store with your kids saying, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this? And you're saying, no, no, like you have to say no. You have to say, we don't have that. We didn't budget for that. It's not a holiday. You don't have a birthday. It's not like, you know what I mean? And I was probably that kid too. I do remember though, when we would go on vacation and we would, go to Target or Walmart or Kmart or whatever it was, my parents would just let me wander off into the toy section. So I don't know how long we would be in a store, but I'd always be in the toy section. And that's just, those are the memories that I have. To be fair, when we go on vacation as a family now, when we walk into, a Target or a Walmart or whatever, usually my wife takes one or two kids and I take one or two kids and I go to the toy section and she takes as long as she wants and then comes and collects me from the toy section, usually with like 2 or 3 things in my arms that as a child, just like a child, I'm like, well, I have to get this because I couldn't find it at home. And I have to get this because it's on sale, and I have to get, and like I'm justifying my purchases to my wife now. So it's, I guess it's come full circle. Solo Center is here as well. What's going on, Solo? Good to have you. And Solo Center said there were 2 Toys R Us stores within 10 minutes of me that closed within the past year. Bummer. Yeah, I know there's like, so down in the Lower Mainland, which is the region sort of around Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, which is, West Coast Canada, there was like a dozen Toys R Us's, and now I think there's like 2. They started closing, and then it was just like dominoes. They were just like one after the other closing down. So maybe there were too many in some places. But I think it's crazy that in the market that I'm in, I mean, there's, Vancouver is about a 4-hour drive. It's about 200 some odd miles away. No one's going from Kelowna to Vancouver to go to Toys R Us. But there's, there's over 100,000 people in Kelowna, and then sort of the surrounding area. And I'm sort of loosely saying, within about an hour, there's kind of double that. And so I think it's bonkers to me that they couldn't make that sustainable, but I don't know what the numbers were or anything like that. So, but as I said, life goes on. I wasn't really buying anything much there. Hammond collection was kind of the last thing that's where I could get Hammond collection. But now that now that most Toys R Us's are closed, it looks like Walmart in Canada is getting Hammond collection stuff. So I don't know. I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The same toys are out there. I just got to figure out where to find them and where to buy them. And speaking of Walmart as sort of the last sort of big retail, physical location for me to buy toys in Canada, let's jump into the toys that I wanted to talk about. So that's perfect. I only had to waste 15 minutes to get into actually talking about toys. And now there's actually people watching. Again, I won't say this again. I apologize. I did not post that I was doing this video until I started this video. So I will say this right now, and I will say this again at the end. We're doing an episode of Monkey Business next week, and I will post the notification for that much sooner than 2 minutes before. Because, I mean, thankfully, some of you tuned in. If you're anything like me on a Sunday, you're kind of just going through YouTube anyway. So, but we want to make sure that lots of people are hanging out for Monkey Business when we're talking about lots of big stuff. Anyways, let's start with this, the Ghost Viper. So, of course, Walmart, I think in the US, they don't really promote it in Canada here. We don't have Walmart Collector Con like you guys do, but we still do get some of the releases. This is a figure that I'm super, super, super excited about. This is the digital render that we got. This was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. And they had the sample, the physical sample of this figure. Seeing the render, I was blown away. I knew instantly that I wanted to pick up at least 2 of these. The extras that you get with this are tailor made for my tastes. You of course get a translucent timber with the alternate heads. You get a translucent snake from Serpentor that came with Serpentor. You get a snake head. You get a wolf head that both go with the figure. You get a viper head, which is the one with sort of the skull paint on it there. Now, for anybody that sort of wasn't aware or didn't know, that viper head, there's a translucent green head, and then the helmet goes over top of it, and then it's painted. So that one is going to look amazing. But for me, the one that I actually really, really like is the new one, the one that's on the figure there. That kind of more futuristic look is really, really appealing to me. But all this translucent green, and the fact that this is a like a Crystal Ball tie-in. So Crystal Ball is basically like the leader of this little faction, and they use this like gas that causes people to hallucinate, basically. And so, when you're looking at the picture there, the green gas stuff is like the gas that gets people to hallucinate, and then that's when they see this. What am I trying to say? Yeah, not a Ghostbusters fan, so I'd probably know the word for it if spectral, like the spectral sort of energy, the spectral kind of look to the transparent stuff. Is down to kind of like a hallucination type thing, but then I don't quite understand, how they have different heads that go with it, and how would you see the wolf? I don't know, but I'm sort of curious to like hear more about it. Yeah. Anyway, in my head canon, it's more of like a ghostly apparition type thing, and that and it just, I don't know, it's just cool. They just look really, really cool. And as I said, at San Diego Comic-Con, they had the physical version of this, and I think I might have even shared my pictures of it previously. But there's sort of the actual physical of the figure. So the wolf's translucent, but there's some paint apps on it so that it adds, some depth and some kind of interest to it. I think they have red eyes as well. And then the snakes, as I said, you get a snake and a snake head, a wolf and a wolf head. So you kind of get like, multiple versions. So I think in a perfect world, I will get 3 of these. And then I can have like a wolf soldier, a snake soldier, and then sort of just the helmeted head. But these are just so cool. And then there you go. You get to see the figure sort of kitted out. So you get the wolf, the spectral wolf with the wolf soldier. You get the spectral snake with the wolf, the snake soldier. You get that helmeted guy with some very, very cool effects, very, very cool photography. They kind of sell this really, really well, in my opinion. Let's see. Brick asks, are you able to do the weekly again, or kind of sporadically after next week? I'm going to try to do weekly again, at least for a while. I may do, little breaks. The plan, although, I've yet to execute it. I've been talking about this for a while, but the plan is to have one Sunday a month in this time slot, a non-live video, which gives me sort of one break per month where I don't physically have to be in this chair at 2:05 Pacific time on a Sunday. And then one monkey business, and then sort of 2 other videos. So really I'm doing kind of 2 videos, two of these videos a month, and then a monkey business, and then a pre-recorded one. So it's, I think a little bit more structure will sort of make it work a little bit better, make it a little bit easier. As you know, I'm terrible about planning this stuff and scheduling it. So as much as I had sort of thought I would have regular guests and all that, I don't plan ahead well enough. So, and Durant, tooting his own horn, he was here from minute 1. So yeah, that's awesome. Good to have you. Solo says, wasn't sure about this one till I saw an in-hand review. Definitely want to pick it up now. Both those helmets are super dope. Agreed. I mean, I wanted it when I saw the render. I wanted it even more when I saw them on display at San Diego Comic-Con. Brick said, do you know if the classified stuff they're creating is getting worked into the modern comic at all? These guys are great. I don't know, but I will be talking about a figure very, very briefly that is being tied into the comics, or at least is at least tangentially tied into the comics. Christopher Bouchard said, did you see the new pictures online, Wave 4 figures from Savage Crucible at the China Toy Show? I did not, and I will... nothing against Savage Crucible. It just doesn't really do much for me. My sword and sorcery stuff, my sort of quotient for that is pretty filled up with Mythic Legions, to be perfectly honest. And so the Savage Crucible stuff, I think it's great, but the aesthetic is you know, it's not really my thing. It's not for me, and that's okay. That shouldn't diminish it for anybody else. I heard that they got posted. I think some of it has been posted kind of today. I just haven't had the time to get around to looking at it. Feel free to just give me a like, what is it? What species are they doing, or what? Because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Solo Center said there is a crossover between classified and the spookier stuff in the comics Dark Energon universe. Yes. I don't know if these figures will be part of that, but I do know that I do know that they intend to tie them in. Game Quest says this set is amazing and a no-brainer for me. Currently setting up the Hawk MMS set, and boy howdy is that thing awesome. I should be receiving my MMS this week, so stay tuned. I may be unboxing that sooner rather than later. And Brick says, I love those Dark Energon guys. Allison Troy is here as well. Good to have you, Allison. All right, so yeah, Solo mentioned that he saw an in-hand review of these. These are actually starting to arrive in stores in the United States. This isn't, a picture from somebody in China getting it early because they're closer to the factory. This is in fact in the US, already in stores, in Walmarts. So, if you're interested in this but want to know more, there are already videos posted with people having these figures. So that's exciting. This is the Dark Energon Mole Rat. So this is right up my alley, and I think I need a few of these just to tie into Space Zombies from Mars too. So this is Mole Rat version 2, technically, but it's been referred to as the Dark Energon Mole Rat. So there's Dark Energon being collected. I think it's being collected in here. The original Mole Rat came with this one that had this sort of crystallized growth. And then this is the evolved version. So more exposure to Dark Energon, or more mutation from Dark Energon, apparently leads to, a crystallized face, which is wild. This, to me, kind of reminds me of The Last of Us, how the fungus sort of becomes the person. This reminds me of how Toys R Us becomes Spirit Halloween. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, the Dark Energon stuff, I think, is going to factor in more and more the further along we get. I think that Dark Energon universe is getting really, really good reviews. I say that having picked up like issue 10 of the Dark Energon universe G.I. Joe book, and I haven't read any of them. So I should probably read them to sort of know what these characters are and sort of what's going on. Because I know that they've kind of reimagined some of the characters and stuff like that, but I have been very busy and haven't read my comic books. Anyway, Christopher Bouchard says they're doing Snake Man and another new Frazetta character that hasn't been done before. Very, very cool. So now that, okay. That's cool. I'll take a look. Like I said, I mean, I guess I don't need Snake Men. I'm curious to see what they're doing. But we're also getting snake people, snake folks in Mythic Legion. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, even even in that respect, I've got a couple of those snake people in Mythic Legions on order already. So, do I need the snake men from another company? Maybe not. Um, Brick says that the Hasbro Joe creative team is doing such a great job of creating fun new lore for this IP. It all feels modern, but in the spirit of the toy line that we grew up on. I agree. I love this. I wanted to see more of this stuff in classified before. I love how they reimagined characters starting in Wave 1 with G.I. Joe Classified. I don't really care for the retro carded stuff. The kind of retro vintage figure inspired ones don't land as well for me. I do, in seeing the retro carded stuff, I do wish some of the classified stuff was a little bit more vibrant rather than the kind of toned down colors that they seem to have kind of gone with. But that's the only thing about retro that I prefer over the sort of standard classified is the vibrancy of the colors. But then again, we get characters like Darklon and we get a character like Mole Rat version 2 and stuff like that. So there's it kind of we seem to be kind of getting both. But anyway, I love that Cobra has spooky divisions and fantastic elements. Me too. I love it. And I've said it before. Some of my favorite GI Joe stuff is the stuff that is the most fantastic, the most out there. Sci-Fi is one of my favorite figures. The Alley Viper is one of my favorite Cobra Viper or Cobra, troop builders. Like I like the vibrant stuff. I like the crazy stuff. I like when it's lasers and just odd stuff that isn't real world military. I do know that there's a lot of people that like the real world military more than that stuff, and that's fine. Everybody's going to have their own preferences, but when they lean into this stuff, oh yeah. Solo Sinner says, really like the supernatural stuff in Classified, more seamless crossover with Monster Force. Yes, that's true. And I love Monster Force, and I'll be talking about Monster Force today too, because it's spooky season. All right, moving on to more spooky stuff in the Hasbro camp. The 2025 Star Wars Black Series holiday, what do they call them? Holiday collection or holiday edition or something like that. I don't know. These are so much fun. I'm not really collecting these. I'll say that right off the bat. I'm not really collecting these. This one is incredibly tempting to me. If I saw this in store, I would probably buy it. For me to pull the trigger on this online is a little bit harder, but I'm honestly, I'm like 60-40 on this one specifically. I mean, the glow in the dark, the kind of ghostly thing going on, this is awesome. And I know that this isn't for everybody. I absolutely understand that. But man, this is a cool toy and a cool crossover. This one, not so much. I mean, I like it. I think it's fun. I think, having a witch with a broomstick, she still comes with 2 lightsabers. This is, of course, Asajj Ventress as a witch with a black cat that's not a black cat and a witch's hat. And, this is fun. I mean, this is a great toy to me. If you don't take toys too seriously and you could just sort of, objectively look at this as just something that's fun, what's not to love, This guy as well, a sort of mummy stormtrooper with a little kind of Frankensteinish porg there. It's just cute. I mean, there's no Black Series collector that's like, you know what I really need in my collection? Asajj Ventress as a witch. I get that. But if you want that, now you can have it. That's how I feel. And Trevor is here. Good to have you, Trevor. He says the Stormtrooper mummy is very tempting. It's cool. The Imperial Guard ghost is definitely my favorite from the wave. But they're fun, man. Like these are just fun. Let's see. Ray Paz was saying about the Ghost Viper. Hope this is easy to get. That first round was tough. I think now the first phase of this character is available. Last time I checked, anyway. Huh? What am I missing? It was available already? What was available? Wait, you're not talking about Ghost Viper because Ghost Viper is not available yet. Or are you talking about Mole Rat? Because yes, Mole Rat was also a Walmart exclusive, and version 1 sold out relatively quickly. So, and Trevor says all these would be a fun collection, but I've been skipping all of them. Yeah, that's fair, and that's what makes skipping them now a little bit easier for me, is that I don't have the rest of them. That Ghost just being glow in the dark. I just translucent glow in the dark. I buy a lot of one-off figures that are translucent or glow in the dark. Like that's kind of my exception to typically I buy, typically if I buy a figure, it has to be a figure that I'm going to have a shelf full of. I have a shelf full of Black Series. I have a shelf full of, AWOC, a shelf full of Mythic Legions, and I'm not buying one-offs, which is kind of where Savage Crucible falls, right? Where I was mentioning, Savage Crucible doesn't really do it for me. It wouldn't be one that I would fill up a shelf with. This is kind of the same, but my exception to that rule is translucent and or glow in the dark figures. I will make an exception because I have a shelf for those. But yeah, but then again, I say that having ordered this, the Christmas collection, Star Wars Black Series stuff is awesome, and I have several of these figures. I am missing now. If anybody sees this or anybody has one of these, please reach out and let me know. I'm missing Chewbacca as like the Yeti, and it kills me because I can't find it anywhere. And that's sort of the one that I missed that I don't have. But the Star Wars Black Series Christmas figures I think are really fun. I lean more towards Christmas than Halloween. I'm one of those people. Halloween isn't as crazy for me as Christmas is, but that's just preference. Solo Cinder says what you need is a shelf for one-offs. I don't have any more shelves left. That's part of it too, is that I have to have shelf rules. The closest thing that I have to a shelf for one-offs is the shelf that's right over there that is primarily like figures from my childhood or things that don't really have collections. So on that shelf, as I said, is like stuff from my childhood. There's a Transformer, there's Mask, there's Dino Riders. But then I have like a Lupin the Third figure. There's only one of those, so I couldn't really get more. Actually, that's not true. There's now 3 figures available from that IP. But my Jada, Chester Cheetah, Count Chocula, and like Tony the Tiger will go on that shelf once he's opened. He's in my pile of 2 open and do a video of. My Lego Dungeons and Dragons minifigures are over there, so I do have technically a sort of one-off shelf. But anyway, that's beside the point. Don't sidetrack me. Black Series Star Wars, rad. These are fun. And they don't have to be displayed. These get displayed. Maybe this is how I get into the Halloween ones. At Halloween, I can display them and then I can put them away for 11 months out of the year. I might be onto something. The Black Series Christmas stuff comes out, December 1st, and it's out for a month. And then I typically put them away on January 1st. Same goes for my Naughty or Nice Santa stuff, which I have more of sooner rather than later. So yeah, seasonal stuff I can sort of get down with because I don't necessarily need to display it. Anyway, the little R2, I guess it's not R2. It's an Astromech Droid Holiday Edition with this, I think, soft goods Santa beard and hat, little festive Grogu, a candy cane as an accessory. This is just cool. And then a Stormtrooper as a reindeer. I think you got to get at least 2 of these and then maybe paint one of their noses red with the little porgs. Plus, it has a translucent porg, so these are kind of a no-brainer for me. Moving on to Monster Force, as I said I would. Seasons 0 and 2, I believe, are starting to arrive at Big Bad Toy Store, so they're going to be starting to ship out very, very soon. I'm really excited for this. A toy line. Wave 1 didn't do season 1 didn't do it as much for me as season 2 does. And there's a couple things in season 0 that I like, and then season 3 and 4 or whatever. I can't keep track. There's a lot of this stuff that I'm very excited about. I'm very excited about like the monsters primarily. The nice thing about this is that I don't have to get, a whole bunch of figures. They're coming out slowly enough that it's not terrible to deal with. And this is it. Exactly, Raypaz. This is exactly what I'm loving about it. We get Eraser on the left there and Donner Party on the right. So you basically get the Invisible Man and Frankenstein. And for anybody that's not familiar with Monster Force, where have you been? But if you're not familiar with Monster Force, Eraser comes with a bunch of transparent parts. So there's an alternate head that's transparent. He gets alternate hands that are transparent. So you can kind of like take the wraps off, take the bandages off. And when you take the bandages off the forearm, I think it's translucent under there as well. So he's invisible. He's the Invisible Man. So super, super cool. I'm very, very excited about these. More so about these than I was about the Wave 1 stuff. I know that a lot of people love that Declan Van Helsing figure. But I was much more excited about the Count Dracula and the Forgotten King because they're kind of more monstrous. And then I got the couple of the troop builders from that wave as well. So very excited for these. Very excited for these as well. Again, just the more monstrous, the more kind of universal monster type thing. I am really, really excited about the prospect of them doing a Creature from the Black Lagoon type character, a Gillman character. I did not know that Gillman was sort of the name that people had given him. I just called him Creature, the Creature. But yeah, Monster Force is super fun, just a little bit different. It's been said before, but I'll say it again. When we make Space Zombies from Mars, the plan is to make them in the same factory that Monster Force is made in, so parts would effectively be fairly interchangeable. So I'm also into this line with sort of a sort of foresight into the future of like characters and things that could sort of cross over with what we're doing. So yeah, just really, really digging Monster Force. Brick said Monster Force is so good. It's one I just enjoy through you and others, though. Yeah, I know, Brick. Not quite the right scale for you, but yeah, they're amazing. They're super, super fun. White Vegeta is here. Good to have you, buddy. Josh Brown is here as well. Josh, I got to reach out to you. I have a request. I have a head request that I don't. Maybe you've got something that'll work. Maybe not. But it's anyway. I'll reach out to you, Josh. A lot of reissue, but they make it work so well. Plus, heavy on the accessories. Yes, and I think that as they sort of build out their parts library, their troops, they've done a good job with the troopers in terms of having them be similar but not the same. And then the accessories really kind of putting them over the edge in terms of making them feel different without making them feel, like it's just reuse. It's not cookie cutter, right? They definitely do a good job of that. And a lot of I'll be totally honest, a lot of the best toy companies do. But there's a lot of toy companies that don't, and it just looks like cookie cutter stuff. Josh says, hopefully I can pick up some Monster Force at Legion's Con. I believe they will have Monster Force at Legion's Con. I don't know exactly what they will have. Knowing that I have a bunch of this on pre-order and knowing that BBTS now has $8 flat rate shipping to Canada, I'm not planning on getting any at Legion's Con. However, they did mention that they intend to have one more exclusive this year, and they are going to be at Legion's Con, so there's a good chance there's going to be a Legion's Con exclusive for Monster Force. I'm 99% sure I know what it is because I know the Monster Force guys, and I know of a figure that they haven't revealed that they said they were going to do. So I think I know what it's going to be, and I think I know that I want it. And so if they have that one at Legion's Con, I'll definitely be picking that one up. But as far as any of these ones, I think I'll just wait for my box to arrive because I'm gonna have so much other stuff to bring home from Legion's Con already. Christopher Bouchard said I would like to see a Gilman in Monster Force. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to have? And then if they had like a trooper to sort of go against him. So if Gilman was like on the good guys team, and he had the that sort of aquatic capability, and then to have like a diver, like a Cobra Eel type character from the bad guys would be rad. Ray Paz, it's not a guess. I'm pretty sure I know what they're doing. And Josh has another one. Yes, Josh. I have another request. Josh, you may just become my custom head guy. I might just be like, hey, Josh, I need this head. Can you get it? Can you do it? They did have a Kraken style character in their 4-inch line. They have well, let's move on. So those are season 2. The ones I've shown are season 2. Halloween Boy is also season 2. Not really one that's on my radar. I don't know where this comes from. I believe it's like a comic book. And so they're incorporating this comic book character into the line. This one, if I see this in person and it looks really good, I may pick it up. But I also have Chatsworth on pre-order. He's, of course, coming later. But I couldn't not include him in these pictures because look how rad he looks. A Sasquatch with a big giant gun and bandoliers. It's rad. And then these are season 0 figures that I'm excited about. So you get the General, and then you get the Black Watch. The Black Watch, of course, being this sort of like goblin species that kind of shape shifts between human and goblin-y. I love goblins. I love the idea of monsters in suits. Like the idea of this character kind of transitioning when needed, but sort of hiding in plain sight is really, really cool. So I'm excited for those as well. But then coming in the future, so these are, what do they call these? Season 3 part 1. And I think Chatsworth is like season 3 part 2 or season 4 part 1. I can't remember. I'm not worried about it. So White Vegeta, this guy, the ambassador of Relay, I don't know how to say that. The Harbinger of Doom has sort of a Cthulhu look to him. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about or not. That's obviously not in the 4-inch line. That's coming in Monster Force, as is Mr. Legacy, which looks like kind of a boring character, but kind of a cool concept for a character. So the figure, will be cool as well by extension. But these are the ones that I'm excited about. So the 13 Ghosts. So Monster Force has this sort of concept of the 13 Ghosts, where there's these masks that effectively make people into these demons or these kind of supernatural beings. Maybe Oni, because they're Japanese. So I guess there's sort of like a Oni spin on this. So you get the Goblin there and the Red Demon. This is 2 of 13. I don't know if they've got all 13 worked out or sort of, designed or what, but you get sort of another, monster in a suit, as well as a sort of a samurai demon, but in like plate armor. They both look really, really cool. So I am very, very excited for all this stuff. Let's see. Those OMF exclusives are true exclusives. What's OMF? I don't know what OMF is. Trev says, love Monster Force. Big Bad Workshop's booth is right behind me at Legion's Con. I may be in trouble. I mean, Legion's Con is just trouble. There's so much cool stuff at Legion's Con this year. I think there's more stuff that I want to pick up at Legion's Con this year than in previous years that I'm aware of. Like in previous years, it's been like, oh, I'll get a couple figures and then I end up with, more. This year, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't think I can get all the things that I want. And so that's going to be the hard part for me. You basically got like 6 exclusive figures from 4 Horsemen. If you get, 2 for each of the male and female figures to get sort of the 2 costumes for each. And then the Legacies figures, that's 6 figures right there. Then if you do the Armory, the sky's the limit. You could get 8,000 different figures, if you do that. And then beyond that, like if there's other tables that have exclusive figures or exclusive heads or exclusive whatever, like it stacks up really quick. It's not a bad problem though, right? That's a very first world problem to have. And Josh says, I wish they would simplify all these season stuff. The season stuff, I don't care about. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I just know that different stuff is it's release schedule more than it is anything else. The story at this point still seems pretty vague, which is fine. I mean, let people have their headcanon. Let people sort of pick and choose which figures they want based on what suits their own narrative. White Vegeta says the Kraken was a Gilman character in the original Action Force line. Oh, yes. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. In the same vein as the Red Shadow and Baron Ironblood. Yes, okay. Solo Center says OMF, Operation Monster Force. Of course it is. I always just think of it as Monster Force. I don't know why yeah, anyways. And Josh says save some money for the customizers. Yeah, I mean but that's it too, right? Like there's little independent people, little independent creators. I say that like in a condescending way, and I certainly don't mean that. People building Dio stuff, people selling custom heads, people selling custom parts and weapons and what have you. People selling wine bottle toppers. Like there's so much cool stuff at Legion's Con, and it's not just figures. That's the truth. It's not just figures. I'm looking at that Lil Legion's coloring book for my kids that Dusty Sandiford is doing, and I haven't bought the previous coloring books, but that one kind of piqued my interest because that one sort of makes more sense for my household. But anyways, what have I got besides this? Yeah, okay. There's more Monster Force stuff. And then from season 3, of course, Dr. Tanis Rand as well. The kind of Wolfman geneticist guy. I'm excited for that. I just remembered that there's also the Blood Moon stuff. Is that what it's called? Big Bad Workshop's other line, that's sort of the prequel line to the Monster Force stuff. There's cool stuff in there too. There was 1 or 2 figures that I was considering picking up. And then, of course, in the Naughty or Nice, if you're not like me and you don't lean as much into the Christmas stuff, Naughty or Nice, of course, has these Pumpkinhead figures available as a 2-pack, just to sort of round out the Big Bad Workshop part of my slideshow. I thought I'd sneak that in there. Sculpted, of course, by Arlen, my good friend and partner in Space Zombies from Mars. So, yeah. Love the Naughty or Nice stuff. The Pumpkinhead stuff, it's fine. It's, again, not for me. Moving on to Zoic, because I can and I will talk about collectible tabletop card games. I'm so excited for this, and I said this before, and I will say it again. It is on Kickstarter right now. The guys from Creative Beast are killing it with sort of everything they do. And Zoic is no exception. I put the link in the chat there, and the link will be in the video description as well. If you haven't backed this yet, I would, you know, if you play tabletop collectible card games, I think, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. If you want to kind of collect something a little bit different than figures, you know, you can get some great cards, and they will be collectible. You know, they're going to have holographic cards and stuff like that. They just unlocked, you know, another stretch goal that gives them more holographic cards. I'm excited about this. I know that it's not for everybody, but if you're at all interested, and I do know collectors that were sort of like, you know, I don't necessarily ever intend to play the game, but getting the cards would be pretty cool. And I agree. I mean, I think just having it, and you can get it. I said this before, you know, if you don't want to go all in on collecting them, $40 gets you everything in that 2-player starter set. So for $40, you can buy this as though you're buying a, you know, a board game. This is a playable set right out of the box for $40, and you get 2 decks of cards, you know, 1 per player. You get the 2 play mats, you get the instruction booklet, you get the coin that you're going to need for certain attacks, and you will get the damage counters and the you know, the attack marker, like the red and blue things there are little markers to sort of help you keep track of everything. So just a very, very cool offering. I think the price point to me seems very, very reasonable, very fair. I just picked up more Lorcana cards the other day, and they're certainly not cheap, and they add up really quick. Anyways, let's see. Raypad says they never sent the armor; they sent the dinos. Wondering what they're doing. My kickstarting anything they do until I get my stuff. That's fair. That's totally fair. What I will say is the armors and the figures, I believe, if they're not on the water, will be very, very soon. And I think they said they should be shipping sooner rather than later. I can't remember. I think they were pretty confident when I was talking to them that I would be able to pick up extra stuff at Legion's Con. So you might have that stuff sooner rather than later. But if you don't want to back another Kickstarter, you know, because of that, I totally get it. Totally fair. Now, what I will say in regards to this Kickstarter, there are 18 days to go. Because it's primarily just cardboard and there's not a huge amount of production, and I believe it might be even being made domestically in the United States. So I think their turnaround time is extra quick because of that. The estimated fulfillment for Zoic is January 2026. So we're talking about just a few months from now having these in hand. Now, I think that's pretty optimistic. I don't know. But I mean, I could see it. I mean, all the cards are effectively designed. You know, all the mats are designed, like everything's lined up. I think this is probably a quicker turnaround time in terms of printing and cutting and packing than an action figure certainly is. There's no molds required for this stuff, right? So I could see the turnaround being very, very quick. Is that all I have? Did I have more slides? No, that was the last slide. So let me share this instead. This is, of course, the Zoic Kickstarter page. They're currently at 36,092. The last stretch goal unlocked at 36,000. The next one, I think, unlocks at 43. And then there's one more kind of big one after that I have no doubt they're gonna hit. But anyway, go check it out if you haven't already. They got some card previews there where you can see some of the art, some of the designs for some of the cards. You know, a breakdown of sort of what you get in your different offerings. You can get a card binder, you can get booster packs, you can get a deluxe playmat, which is more of like a foam kind of playmat. Yeah, there you go. There's sort of the breakdown of price points and stuff like that. I'm on the fence whether I need the mystery card kind of thing there, but anyways. But I wanted to scroll down to the stretch goals just to show you. As I said, the game counters are unlocked. Those got unlocked like day 2, maybe day 3. The first phase of holographic cards just got unlocked. It was meant to be 5. They've added a 6th mystery card, which they haven't revealed. The next unlock is at 43,000 for the mythic card foil stamping. So that means that any card that's mythic, which is sort of like a rare card or an ultra rare or a legendary, depending on like what card game you're playing, they have different names. They're going to have sort of a foil border around them just to make them look a little bit extra special. And then at 65,000, they're doing phase 2 of the holographic. And they had initially said that they intend to do about 50 holographic cards. I don't know if that would include the 6th in the 6 in that first stretch goal, and then there'll be like 40 some odd more here. But regardless, I mean it's like a third of all the cards that they're going to make. They're going to make holographic variants, which is awesome. I would collect these if they didn't have any holographic, but the full art holographic cards that I've seen look amazing. They've done, the starter deck. You get the lizard dragon and a T-Rex full holographic in that stretch goal. The stretch goal here, you get Kuroakami and then a Dilophosaurus version. I don't know what it's called. Albertosaurus, Glass Cannon, which is an effect card, and then an armor card. So it's just really, really cool stuff. I think. If you don't think so, that's fine. You don't have to back it. I get it. If you don't like the idea of backing Kickstarters, I get it. But if you're so inclined, I would suggest you go check it out. At 105,000, they're doing textured card backs. This one, I'm probably going to sleeve the cards anyway, so I don't know that I necessarily need that, but it's cool. And then they show, more of the art, more of the other cool stuff, some process stuff here. Yeah, just looks super, super cool. In my opinion, you don't have to agree. That's okay. Brick says just back. Site says February 2026 for fulfillment. Yes. Okay. I thought it was January, but February. Did the Raptor bundle to be able to do a 4-player game? Does the Raptor bundle get you a 4-player game? The Raptor bundle won't get you a 4-player. Well, yes, it would, because you would have enough cards in the booster packs. Yes, you would be able to. Okay. I just had to do the math. You only get 2 starter decks, but you would have enough cards to play with 4 people. That you're absolutely right. Red 5 is here as well, right before I kind of wrap it up, probably. Christopher Bouchard with a $5 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you. Says, happy that I pre-ordered all Mondo Real Ghostbuster figures so far. Got 1 and just waiting on the other 3. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I have been very vocal that I feel like those are expensive, but I'm not a Ghostbusters fan, and I am not here to tell people what to buy or what not to buy. They look fantastic. And from everything I've heard from everybody that has gotten any in hand, they love them. So that's awesome. And I'm very happy for you. My throat is getting very sore. All right, now before I go, very quickly, just want to so not really toy related, but it is related to a toy collecting friend of mine. So friend of mine by way of toy collecting and just all around cool guy, Peter Kleins, who is an author who's put out many, many books, including the X Heroes series and a book called 14, a book called Broken Room, a book. What? Oh, man. Now I'm forgetting the first one that I read of his. Anyways, very, very quick backstory. Peter Kleins sent an email to the Spiro customer service, email, which I, of course, am reading and responding to. And he forgot to take his little professional tag out. He said normally he takes that out when he's sending emails to, like, companies and things like that. And I checked, and he does. Normally he does, because it wasn't the first time he had emailed either. It was actually a reply to a reply, I believe. And he forgot to take that out. And at the bottom it says, Peter Kleins, author of blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, cool. This guy writes books. Like, I wonder what his books are like. And I wonder what kind of, content he's writing. And I checked it out and loved it. I've read a whole bunch of his books since. I've, become friends with them, just chatting with him and just a cool guy. Like I said, big toy collector, collects a little bit of everything. Anyways, get to the point, right? Anyways, Peter Kleins has a new novel coming out first week of November, I believe, first or second week of November. So this is up for pre-order right now. He was very kind in sending me a sample copy, like an early production. What is it called? Uncorrected advanced reading copy, not for sale, available November 11th, 2025. So I got my preview copy. This book is rad. This book is so much fun, and I've really, really enjoyed it. It is big. It is a very big, thick novel. There's like 600 pages, plus 620 pages. But it's awesome. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And if you are so inclined, if you are a reader, go check it out. Go pre-order it, and you won't be disappointed. It's got dinosaurs, it's got robots, it's got Neanderthals, it's got, science fiction and fantasy and like all these different elements in it. And it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, if you don't want a 620 page novel, the X Heroes series is really good too. They're much shorter. It's about heroes and zombies. Very, very good reads. Let's see. White Vegeta, any hint, update as to what's next for Space Zombies? As of today, no. But soon. Stay tuned. We may have some news sooner rather than later. But thank you for asking. And as soon as there is anything that I can share publicly, I will, and I'll make a big deal about it. But anyways, it's always a pleasure to come and hang out and chat with everybody. As I said, we'll be doing Monkey Business next week, so come back this time next week, 2:05 Pacific, 5:05 Eastern time on a Sunday afternoon, to talk about more Animal Warriors of the Kingdom stuff, as well as maybe some other stuff. I don't know what we'll want to talk about come next Sunday, but there's a bunch of stuff going on. We'll probably be talking a little bit about what to expect at Legions Con and after Legions Con and so forth. So if you're interested in that, please tune in next week. Thank you guys for being here, even though I didn't set the video up and announce it properly, and I blew it. I will do better. My promise to you is that I will do better. But in fairness, I couldn't really do any worse. Bye-bye.
Now that's a country song. Living and loving and driving fast cars, whether I'm here or I'm on Mars. I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know. I'll leave a beautiful memory when I go. Well, I woke up this morning feeling pretty damn tired. I was up all night at a moonlight fire. There was beer, whiskey, a beautiful girl.
Wait. I forgot one thing. If you're still here, go tune in to Brick Something Show in about a half an hour. He's going to have Jeremy Gerard, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really fun. probably talking about Legion's Con, talking about a whole bunch of other Mythic Legion stuff. I usually plug it, and I totally forgot. Like I said, I'm out of practice. Sorry, Brick. Bye, everyone.
Loving and driving fast cars, whether I'm here or I'm on Mars. I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know, but I'll leave a beautiful memory when I go. I'll play that just like your daddy taught you. Now that sounds sweet. Guitar pick. So I went to the fridge, grabbed myself a beer. I jumped in the car that I wanted to steer. I told them guys I'll be back in the jiff, but I accidentally drove my car off a cliff. So now I'm dead, but the song remains. Even though I scattered all of my brains on the inside of my black T-bird. I hope y'all remember these beautiful words. Well, living and loving and driving fast cars, whether I'm here or I'm on Mars, I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know, but I'll leave a beautiful